Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we discuss a 2025 summer launch from Moser Cie of Schaffhausen, Switzerland. This is the Pioneer Tourbillon Spiced Aqua. It is a spicy combination of aqua, turquoise, and bright orange. These watches were launched as part of a superhero blockbuster film themed marketing campaign from Moser. And I was fortunate enough to see all of them. I think this might be the coolest all around because it gives you what Moser is best known for. Yes, the irreverence, but also quite a few real world technical refinements. The watch is 40 millimeters in diameter. It's basically the size of the Pioneer 40 millimeter. Stainless steel, 12.4 millimeters thick as I measure it, 48 from lug to lug, so that's 48 millimeters lug to lug with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, of course, I'm a Moser owner. That's my Pioneer center second 40 off camera. So this is a watch that's very familiar to me. I wear this size every day. It's thin for an automatic winding tourbillon with a 3-day power reserve, no complaints there. And it's short enough from lug to lug that I could envision this wearing well on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. And although it's really not the kind of thing that's designed to disappear under a cuff, it will do so because it's fairly thin and the bezel is rounded and domed, so this will slide underneath even a shirt sleeve. One of the features that I like so much is that there is a little bit of camber or curvature to the case back, a bit like a tonneau design. The strap's a lovely piece. Again, these were summer launches, so it makes sense they would be on pliant, durable, sweat-proof, and well-vented Moser rubber straps. You could see the Moser Cie logo in there. We have a relatively thick cut, so this should last for years before it becomes worn to the point that you feel any need to replace it. It's also got a nice satin finish to it. It's very smooth, silky. It tapers down towards the end. You can see Moser drills these lugs fairly close to the case and then uses a curved spring bar, so there's no impediment to the motion of the strap. It doesn't get pinned against the side of the watch. An unusual feature for Moser, but a good feature to have on a sports watch, a full deploying clasp to give you a bit more security against accidentally dropping your watch. And that B on the clasp seems to indicate that this came from Bousselador, which is a supplier to Moser. And you can see Moser buckles generally matched the design of the case. So here we have a twin trigger release. So this is not a friction fit clasp. You have to press both these triggers to release it and open it. But you can see how they have this sort of serration or coining in the profile. And then they have that exact same coining in the flanks of the case. There's always that design parallelism at Moser between the watch and its buckle. Now you can see that there's a little bit of a fluting or a character line that runs through the top of the lug. The lug is satinated. The case is polished, so is the bezel. We have these recesses that are coined. Moser cases are machined and hand finished, not one or the other, but both. That's how they get this depth and detail, particularly these polished recesses. We have a screw-down media blasted Moser branded crown. The watch is 120 meters water resistance. Well, it's autologerie. It is nevertheless still a very swimmable watch. Of course, you're going to wonder, is this highly sporty watch luminescent? And, well, yes, it is, and to an incredible degree. And it's actually fairly intuitive to read, even though this is what Moser would generally describe as a concept dial. That is a dial that has no printing, no branding, no indices, completely nondescript, with one major exception. Underneath those foy-style hands, we have a 1-minute flying tourbillon. Now, it's a flying tourbillon because there's no upper bridge to block your view. That architecture, the flying tourbillon, was created in Glashütte, Germany during the 1920s. Today, Moser uses it to good effect, give you a better view of the tourbillon itself. Now, it's a 3 hertz beat rate. A couple of remarkable things here. Moser makes the escape lever, the escape wheel, the balance, and the hairsprings in-house. They create the full assortment, which is impressive because quite a few movement manufacturers can make most of the movement, but they stop at the assortment. This is deeply impressive. And through its precision engineering subsidiary, which is in-house in German-speaking Schaffhausen, Switzerland, with Moser, they can make these tiny parts, and they make hairsprings and balances for quite a few brands throughout the industry. They are a source. But take a look, 2 hairsprings, flat, geometrically exactly the same, identical, but 180 degrees out of phase. The tourbillon was created by Abraham Louis Breguet in the late 18th century to cancel out the effect of gravity, and that works fine if you have a pocket watch that sits in the same orientation all day in your pocket. Tougher, though, when the watch is moving randomly on a wrist. So by having these two opposite but identical hairsprings, in any position their effect on timing will be opposite but equal. One speeds up, the other slows down, net zero. One speeds up, the other slows down, net zero, and that's the idea. You can also see that there's nice height and a high degree of fine finish to this tourbillon structure. While the movement is artisanally decorated, the best quality of finish is on this most prominent of assemblies. Turn it over. You can see Moser has refashioned its tourbillon movement, just like its HMC 200 became the 201. Here we have the 805 taking the previous tourbillon caliber, and while there are not technical changes, it's more attractive. We can now more easily see the drivetrain, the winding train for the bidirectional pawl-based magic lever style winding system. The rotor is more thoroughly skeletonized to give us a better view of what's below. We have skeletonized a bridge on the bottom of the tourbillon. Note that it still turns on ceramic ball bearings for a better brace security and a broad platform that keeps it stable. It doesn't use a jeweled staff, it uses a ball bearing. This is also a ceramic bearing. It's a hybrid ceramic bearing, steel race and ceramic balls. More efficient than steel, lower maintenance too. We have the magic lever style winding system, which you can see right there. You can see the two steel pawls, and the upgrades include skeletonization of rotor and bridges, but also the use of this lovely nickel anthracite coating across the bridges themselves, which is quite attractive. You can also see some golden finishing within the sinks for the jewels, which is evocative of vintage chaton settings, as you would have found on 19th century Moser pocket watches, but there is a true golden chaton fixed by screws. Again, if you wanted to precision fit jewels back in the old days, you would press them into a precision-made golden cup and then fix that into the bridge or plate using screws. All screw heads are polished. You can see there's snailing on the edge of the bridges, media blast on the base plate, satination on the wheels, an attractive bevel, albeit machined, but very handsome, tidy, and appealing on the rotor as well as the bridges. And then we've got the double-crested Moser stripes, which is very attractive in its own right. And again, a 3-day automatic winding power reserve here with 120 meters of water resistance. And like all tourbillon watches, it is particularly vocal. You can actually hear it in a quiet room, which I find absolutely sublime. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com to put the spiced Aqua on your wrist.